Welcome, pen pals. Today we've got a brand new segment that I like to call Which Pen Would I Pick? It's the only game show where I'm the only contestant and the person who's kind of running the show as well. So what I did was I requested for Chris to give me 3 sets of pens, and my job will be to discuss the benefits and the less than desirable aspects of each pen, and then decide which one would I pick. And maybe that might help you guys figure out which pen would you pick in particular scenarios as well. So let's take a look. And here is our first pairing of pens. Okay, we're going pocket size to start with. Okay, so right here we have the Kaweco Liliput, and this is in copper, it looks like. Now here we have the Lamy Pico. Got this in the rose gold finish. So both of these pens are quite pocket worthy, very compact. Both are German brands. So you have Kaweco is from Nuremberg, and then we have Lamy from Heidelberg. It's going to come down to, it's like this is a fountain pen, of course. So you have, and everybody knows pretty much I'm a big fountain pen enthusiast here. But you do have the convenience of this very pocketable push action mechanism here that just extends out to this nice length for the ballpoint refill. And this Pico actually uses the LM22, these little tiny ballpoint refill cartridges there that are proprietary to Lamy because they need to fit in very small spaces like this Pico does. This is a really nice rose gold finish. I think this is actually a special edition of 2020, I want to say, or 2019. It is kind of like the upgraded version of a standard Pico. This also too is a really nice finish, being that it's made out of copper here. It's also a little bit on the smaller side, especially if you don't screw post the cap on the back here. It only fills by cartridges, which kind of for me is not exactly the most ideal. Because I do like using a converter. You can't even use a sport converter with this. I've tried. So you're really just only stuck with the ink cartridges on this. And it is a very, very petite size pen. It uses a number 5 size stainless steel nib. And I'm thinking purpose-wise, we're looking for a pen that you're going to take with you on your travels and just stash away in your bag, just kind of keep it to just journal on the go. Yeah, you might want to have something that could just use cartridges. That way you're not bringing around bottles of ink and trying to fill up, like let's say you're on a train or on a plane, car, whatever, you're trying to fill up, you could just plug in a cartridge. It's much more convenient here. As far as convenience is concerned, like ballpoint pen is extremely convenient in these situations because you just have just push the button and you're good to go. And then you could just throw it in the bag and it's very compact. This is actually harder than I was originally thinking it was going to be because, it is a fountain pen and I'm very, very, preferential to fountain pens in general because of the writing quality, the fluidity of the nib. But in terms of actual use, what I would use these 2 pens for, I'm thinking that I might opt to go with the Pico because the Pico is going to be the more convenient as a pocketable writing instrument, something that I would just throw like quite literally in a shirt pocket. Well, I wouldn't do a shirt pocket, but I would throw it in my jeans pocket, in my bag. So probably fit most pen loops as well, which this is a little bit on the slimmer side. This might fall through a pen loop. But in terms of convenience and portability and just usability on the go, I think that the Pico has got it in spades here. And also too, it has a roll stop, which is not rolling. It's not stopping right now, but here it is. It's stopped. Whereas the Liliput's not going to stop if you leave it rolling on the table here. So, I do appreciate, of course, the fountain pen mode and the ability to write fluidly with that fountain pen ink, but in terms of the convenience and just overall portability, I would go with the Lamy Pico. On to the second pairing. Oh, whatever it is, it's not going to stay put. It may not have a clip. I think I hear it rolling. Is it rolling? Can I see? Oh, okay. I thought they were gonna not have clips because like you were concerned about them just kind of going off on their own. All right, so this is going in the way opposite direction. Very large pen. So we have here, this is the Pelikan Souveran. This is the 800, right? So this is the 800 in the Stressman, and then we have here, this is the Sailor 1911 King of Pen. So these are some quite large pens. I must commend Chris for his selections because these are, fairly, I would say, in the same stratosphere in terms of like overall quality, size, collectability, the amount of focus the brand puts on these particular pens as a, let's say, flagship type model. Souveran 805 is considered by many as almost like not necessarily like a grail pen per se, but like a pen that any really like serious pen collector should probably have in their collection, like as a standard. Reason being is that it's just the grandiose sort of size of this pen, the large 18 karat gold nib, the piston filling mechanism, which Pelikan just makes a flawless differential system they've been doing it for a very, very long time, so they have a lot of experience with producing a beautiful piston fill mechanism, which is actually made from brass, so it does add a little bit more weight to this pen. So this pen has got the substantial size, it's got the feel of a luxury pen, and it also has a style that just gives it a very formal, elegant, timeless appeal. So and then also too, it's a little bit easier than most pens to maintenance because you can unscrew easily the nib unit from the rest of the body. So if the piston mechanism does get sticky a little bit over time, you could go in and then be able to lubricate it through the front end section here, and then be able to clean out the nib a little bit easier as well. And then on the other hand, and this is Pelikan from Germany, on the other hand, we have the Sailor King of Pen, which is made by Sailor Japan. This is also a very large pen, cast out of PMMA resin and matched with gold trim that you see here, although there are other options available. With this though, the classic quality of it, I think, is very understated, whereas I think the Pelikan just has a little bit more personality thanks to the cellulose acetate barrel. This is just all completely resin that's here. The nibs though, you just have to see these nibs. I mean, the King of Pen nib is absolutely superb. I mean, if you were to, let's say, go and create a calendar of beautiful nibs, and you would just have a serious nibbage calendar, kind of like a fireman calendar or whatever, kind of eye candy that you would put on your wall, these two nibs would definitely be included in it because they're just phenomenal to look at. They're large. They have a writing experience that is truly like no other. Even when you purchase other pens within the other collections of these lines, these nibs, because of their size and their craftsmanship quality, are just head and shoulders above even, let's say, looking at the 1911L or the 1911S. It's a completely different game. It really is. It has a different feel. It's something that I think an experienced pen enthusiast would understand and appreciate more than, let's say, a novice. So I wouldn't recommend jumping to either of these two pens as, let's say, your first or even second pen. This is something that you would want to set as a standard for yourself, like later on, and you're just like, I want something just above like everything else in terms of its like overall like writing ability and quality. So one of my issues with the 1911 King of Pen is the fact that it's a cartridge converter system, and the converter is included separately in the box, but it's not attached right now. It's got a very low ink capacity, whereas the Pelikan has like, one of the best piston fill ink capacities you could find. So you could get a lot more ink in that pen than you would this pen. In terms of like size and weight and balance, you know, I kind of feel that both of them are fairly equal in that even though they are large pens, I feel that they're comfortable, especially because of their mostly resin or in this case resin and cellulose acetate construction. So, you know, and maybe the 1911 King of Pen gets a bit more in the girth side as far as like the balance and everything, which is a bit more comfortable. But I'm going to have to go this round with the 805 because of the piston fill mechanism and just its really timeless quality and that bit of accent in terms of the cellulose acetate barrel. So this is the pen that I would pick, is the Souveran 805. And here is the final round. Let's take a look at our third pairing. Nice. So we have here the Cross Townsend, and we have them in the Star Wars finishes. So this is appropriate considering that this past week we had May the 4th. We have Chewbacca and we have Boba Fett. And I mean, these are just fun pens. These are manufactured by Cross, so this is the Cross Townsend. They are pull caps, so we can pull off here. So we got both fountain pen modes with the Cross, was it 14 karat nib or 18 karat nib? I forget, my eyes are still adjusting because I'm closing them, I'm using contacts right now. But I forget, I think it is 18 karat. These are part of a special edition that Cross had introduced a few years ago when they had the licensing with Star Wars. Now they do not anymore, since I think it expired right after when the Rise of Skywalker was introduced, and they had the Schaefer Pops, and I think there was a few more Star Wars Cross pens that were introduced, and then the licensing expired. So now these pens are going to become collector's items because they're not going to be manufactured anymore. But in terms of you know, your connection to the characters, I think that if you were a fan of either or, that these pens are pretty cool to include and to be able to write with. They also, a little detail note, besides of course the neat styling of both of them, is that they have a little Swarovski crystal at the very top of the cap finials, of which also the cap finials themselves are engraved. They have the edition number there, and each of these are limited out of 1,977 pieces, which 1977 is the year when the first Star Wars movie was introduced. So the Chewbacca one has got, of course, Chewbacca's fur, and it's kind of got this neat sort of brown lacquer that, you know, because of the fact that you have this engraving, this textured engraving that's going around the pen of the fur, it kind of catches the light and really plays with the light. And of course you have like his belt graphic here, you have the Star Wars logo, and then the Rebel insignia that's here. Then you also have copyright LFL, Lucasfilms Limited. Then also with the Boba Fett, you have Boba Fett's helmet, of which I think works pretty well with the black clip, because of course his helmet comes down into that kind of like that T sort of shape. Then you have on the back here, you have the Mandalorian little skull emblem, you have Star Wars, and then you have just you have his little rocket here too. So it's the same deal as with the Chewbacca, is that it's kind of etched into the surface. Similarly to, if you're familiar with Retro 51 pens, they have that acid etching and then they coat it with lacquer. So it provides that texture and it provides a little bit of interest when you see the light hit it, because it's conforming to the shape of the lacquer. And then it's also printed in various colors that match, I think, the Mandalorian armor pretty well. In terms of like fandom and which characters I like, I mean, I think that Boba Fett's got more play right now because of the fact that you've got the Book of Boba Fett coming out later this year. Chewie's always in style. Chewie's like, he's the man. It's just, or he's the Wookiee. I do like kind of like the iridescent quality of this lacquer as opposed to like the flat quality of the Boba Fett lacquer. So this is pretty hard because I do like both characters a lot in terms of just the overall pen aesthetics, because that's what we're looking at here, because both of these pens are exactly the same in terms of both being fountain pens, both being cross pens, same exact collection. So this is going to have to come down to which style I think I like the best. And I would I'm kind of leaning towards the Chewbacca because I could do a pretty good Chewbacca impression. I could do a Wookiee growl, and I'm gonna have to do it now because I said that I do it. So I'm gonna have to go with Chewbacca. So that was our first ever which pen would I pick. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. I would love to see which of the pairings that you would have picked, so put them in the comments below. You can also send us emails. Don't send me emails, but send, let's say, orders@goldspot.com emails with maybe like, pen pairings that you would have me get my opinion on, and we could do them in future videos. I'm pretty excited about this, and I think there's a lot of potential here to have some pretty cool discussions about various pen matchups. Find out more about the pens you saw here by checking out our Sailor King of Pen video here. We've also got a Pelikan Souveran 805 unboxing there, and then you can subscribe to the Goldspot Pens channel for more fine writing videos and fun stuff like we're doing here today. Thank you for watching, and stay inky, my friends. Take care.